Welcome everyone. We're gonna give it a few more minutes just to allow everyone to get in, and we'll go ahead and get started in the next minute or so. Welcome everyone. For those joining in, we're just gonna give it a few more seconds to allow everyone to hop on before we get started. All right, so welcome to UCF Online Graduate Degree Programs, everyone. This is the live information session for our graduate degree programs. Thank you so much for being here today. We're excited to have you join us to learn more about UCF, to learn about its benefits, and how you can have a smooth transition into the university. As we go through the information, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature located below to get your questions in. We will be pausing along the way to get those questions answered.
All right, so in today's session, we will provide a brief overview of UCF and UCF Online. We'll also dive into what online success coaching is, what our roles entail, what are the benefits. We'll provide a list of our UCF Online graduate degree and certificate programs. We'll discuss the application deadlines and the admissions process, including the minimum requirements for graduate admissions. We'll cover tuition costs, and we'll also pause throughout the end to provide an opportunity to have your live questions answered. All right, so first we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. We have Johanny, our director today, who will be moderating your questions. My name is Shannon. I'm a success coach in the UCF Online Connect Center. I've been with UCF Online for almost 3 years now. My favorite part about being a success coach is being that connector and being able to witness the student's journey from start to finish.
Hi everyone, my name is Johanny Santana. I am a success coach at the University of Central Florida with UCF Online. I have been a success coach for nearly 3 years now, and my favorite part about being a success coach is being able to be part of students' academic journey.
Okay. So what is a success coach? So as mentioned, Johanny and I are both success coaches at the UCF Online Connect Center. But what does it really mean? So as your success coach, we are specifically trained to be your motivational partner. We'll partner with you throughout your academic journey. That's from enrollment all the way to graduation. And we accomplish this through frequent and proactive engagement with each of our students. So as success coaches, we'll collaborate with you to co-develop strategies and skills that'll help you meet your academic, career, and personal goals. All right, so now Johanny will share a bit more about UCF's history and the history of UCF Online.
Thank you, Shannon. The University of Central Florida was established in 1963. At that moment, the enrollment number was over 1,900 students. Today, we have over 68,000 students. The Carnegie Foundation has classified UCF as one of the highest research activity and community engagement. We have been ranked as a national university and one of the most innovative by US News and World Report. UCF Online is ranked among the top 20 online programs. So we have over 20 years of online degree experience, and last year UCF was ranked as one of the nation's best values for a college education. So as a UCF Online student, you have instant access to success coaches who will support you from inquiry all the way until your graduation.
Great. So again, UCF Online is more than just a degree. Let's pause for a moment to see if we have any questions from the audience.
We do have a question. Let me get to that. Can you answer the question around, does UCF accept transfer credits for graduate programs?
Yeah, we'll be getting to that as we go through the slides, and we'll go ahead and answer that question definitely.
So UCF may accept up to 9 graduate level credit hours, but this is at the discretion of the department.
And we did have another question around if we'll be sending out the link to everyone after the session is over for the recording.
Yes, so the recording will be provided to all attendees.
And can you explain who they need to contact for the state employee tuition waiver?
Yeah, the success coaches, when you connect with them, they'll be guiding you on how to get that turned in so that you can receive those benefits. So you'll initially connect with your success coach.
And that's it for now. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So here's an overview of our 60 graduate degrees and certificate program options that are offered via UCF Online. Among these are some of our most widely recognized degrees, including hospitality and tourism management, civil and industrial engineering, nursing, criminal justice, and nonprofit management. Give you guys a moment to take a look and see. All right.
So all UCF students, those who are fully online and those who are campus-based, are actually taught by the same faculty. Online graduate programs are flexible, they're affordable. It gives you access to innovative courses that help advance your career. Aside from our 33 master's programs and 32 certificate programs, we also offer 3 nursing doctoral programs that are fully online. Online students save money, so the cost per credit hour for UCF Online graduate students that are Florida residents is $327, while non-residents tuition fees are $1,151 per credit hour. Please keep in mind that some costs may vary by program, and then financial aid is available to students that apply and qualify. With some graduate certificate programs, some of them they may not qualify, so just things to keep in mind when it comes to the financial aid process.
So with a UCF Online graduate degree, you're taught by the same award-winning faculty again. You'll have access to all resources necessary to be successful in a fully online program. So that includes access to a success coach who can partner with you to discuss time management, career exploration, study habits at the graduate level. You'll have access to a program advisor to assist you in mapping out your plan of study. All library services, the University Writing Center, if it's been a while since you had the opportunity to write a paper and you need some coaching, you can absolutely connect with a member of the Writing Center for that assistance. You'll also have access to career services as well. You'll receive the same degree as a campus-based student. The only difference in the program is the modality, with the program being fully online. So when you're receiving your degree will not indicate that you earned it fully online. Like, there's no designation that this is a UCF Online degree. When you're ready to graduate, you're definitely invited to attend the commencement ceremony that's held on campus.
There are some questions related to some of the content you've shared already. Do you want to take a little bit of time to answer those?
Sure.
Okay. One of the questions related to information you just shared around resources was, is there a VA department for our online program? So if somebody needed help with the GI Bill, for example.
Yes, we do have a Veterans Academic Resource Center, and they're able to partner with our veteran students to go over their educational benefits and answer any questions that they may have that relates to that.
Somebody else mentioned the fact that they had read that in-state and out-of-state tuition are the same. Can you comment a little bit more on that?
That, I believe they may be inquiring as it relates to our special tuition programs, where the tuition is the same for in-state and out-of-state residents for some of those programs. But as far as the majority of our UCF online programs, they have the in-state and out-of-state tuition.
And someone else asked, what are the residency requirements for in-state tuition? This example shared that they're in the process of moving to Florida at the end of this month.
Oh, great question. So in order to declare Florida as a as their state of residency, they have to be in the state of Florida 12 months prior to the first day of their intended term. So if they were planning on moving to Florida at the end of this month, they would not qualify for Florida residency tuition rate if they were to apply for the fall 2020 semester. It would have to be 1 year after the date that they established residency in the state of Florida and before the term that they're interested in applying.
I just like to add to that it's not from the moment that the student moves to the state of Florida, it's from the moment that they switch their documentation. So make sure that you are switching your driver's license, your vehicle registration. That way, a year from when you moved, you're able to show proof that you have been established in the state of Florida. So what we will be looking at is 12 consecutive months of being in Florida. So that can be you can show proof with your driver's license, voter's registration, vehicle registration, maybe a deed of a home or lease agreement. And I know that in some cases they will also accept the your employment as long as it is full-time employment and you're able to allocate that it was 12 consecutive months.
Is the non-resident tuition fee also applicable to international students, or is there a different fee for international students?
The non-resident fee is also applicable to international students.
How does it work with prepaid college?
Like with Florida prepaid? Students, they can still utilize Florida prepaid at the graduate level. So they would have to ensure that they submit the appropriate documentation to be able to utilize that benefit.
Can we go at our own pace if we take classes online, or do we have to take a certain amount of credit hours per semester?
So that's a great question. It depends on if the student is utilizing financial aid. So for example, if they want to be able to receive financial aid, they have to take a minimum of 6 credit hours in order to qualify for federal loans. However, the program can absolutely be completed at their own pace. If they are paying for their courses out of pocket or even utilizing tuition reimbursement, they only want to complete 1 course at a time, they can absolutely do so. They just have to make sure that they are abiding by the deadline set forth in the syllabus by the instructor of the course, but it can absolutely be completed at their own pace.
There were a couple of questions around bachelor's programs and also specific programs such as BSN to DNP. Joey, could you post the links to our catalogs in the chat so that people can refer to the catalog to find more specific information about other programs? Another question was, how many classes can we take at one time in the master's level? That might have already been answered in your previous answer, but go ahead and expand if you feel like you need to.
Yeah, they will allow you to do 2 at a time. They typically will not allow more than that because they don't want to overwhelm you with the overload of work. You can drop down to 1 at a time if you are not utilizing financial aid. Financial aid will require you to have a minimum of 6 credit hours.
And I will add to that, the maximum, well, for full-time at the graduate level is 9 credit hours, but students, they traditionally do part-time, which is 6 credit hours.
Someone asked if you could elaborate on non-resident cohorts.
I believe that's more specific to our special tuition programs.
Is there any corporate partner benefits?
As far as maybe an internship, for some programs, they do partner with organizations throughout the community. So in the event that the student was interested and they may have had an internship, maybe they can pursue that internship with a particular corporation, and then it can possibly lead to employment.
And that question might have been more around, are there, sometimes there are, with certain universities, they'll have a partnership with an organization where there are reduction in tuition or fees as a member of that organization. And we don't actually have, it depends on the organization, and there's certain, there are certain benefits that we have, such as the Guild Disney partnership. But you can get more information again on our website about any benefits you might receive through your organization. If Joey could post another link for the page regarding, I think it would probably be under costs and tuition. I don't know of any corporate partner benefits that we have outside of the Guild Disney partnership at the moment, though. But you might, just to add to that, you do want to, of course, connect with your employer to find out what types of benefits they do offer you directly as a student. So that might not be something that we recognize on our side, but that might be something that if you work with your employer, they might work with you at your particular organization to offer benefits to you directly as a student. Somebody else asked how long it would take to complete the master's degree at 6 credit hours. I'm thinking they mean 6 credit hours per semester.
Likely per semester. So the graduate degree program can absolutely be completed in 2 years if you are, I would say a little over 2 years, maybe 2.5 if you are pursuing as a part-time student. That may or may not include summer enrollment. It just depends on the program if courses are offered in the summer.
And somebody asked if you would recommend taking 6 hours if you also work full-time.
That's a great question. I would say it definitely depends on the student. And this is where absolutely where planning will come into play. If you are in a position that requires like high engagement, you want to make sure that you're still allotting time for your studies and like time outside of school and outside of work, such as your family. So it really depends on what your responsibilities are and how comfortable you feel with being able to maintain that workload.
Are there tuition discounts for students that are working full-time as teachers in Florida?
I'm not familiar with any discounts for teachers that are working full-time in Florida.
And someone else asked you to clarify, can you only take a max of 9 credit hours per semester?
If you want to do more, it's at the discretion of the department. We definitely recommend students that want to, increase their workload to definitely talk with us first and make sure that they'll be able to manage it effectively. but outside of the max of 9 credit hours, you may have to go through the program director for approval.
I'm sorry, I'm going through the questions to try and find ones that are sort of connected to stay on the same theme. Is the GRE required?
GRE may be required. It depends on the program. So please refer to the catalog for the program you're interested in, and it'll list on there exactly what is required for the specific program you're interested in. So GRE may be required. It just depends.
And if you're still not sure, you can absolutely connect with one of us or another success coach in the office, and we'll be able to partner with you through that process.
Definitely, yeah.
Do success coaches help you figure out financial aid?
We do have an office for financial aid assistance that will work with you on that. Success coaches are definitely able to set you on the right path and talk to you a little bit about how to submit applications, provide your school code, and more of that general information. But for more specific information as far as what documents to submit, that would go through the financial aid office. So we do have great support there.
As far as somebody asked about, they graduated from UCF with an undergrad, and for the requirements, it asks for their transcripts. Will these already be on file since they haven't changed since they were last at school at UCF?
Yes, that's a great question. So if you are a graduate of UCF, you're not required to request your transcripts again. Once you submit the application, you can connect with graduate admissions to make them aware and have them attach your transcripts to your new application.
There's been a couple of questions now about the Master's in Social Work program. We do actually have separate information sessions for our social work program. It is a special tuition program, and we're going to put some information in the chat for those of you who are interested in that program, since we won't be referring directly to that program in the session. We'll put some information in the chat for you to further explore the social work program and who to contact to talk to about that program. We do have 2 specially dedicated success coaches for that program as well. Is the admissions process for an online master's program more challenging for a Florida employee than that is utilizing the Florida Furthering Education Program?
So I'm not sure what the Florida Furthering Education Program is. Can you repeat the question for me, Joni?
I'm sorry, I have to find it. I clicked done. A second. Is the admissions process for an online master's program more challenging for a Florida employee that is utilizing the Florida Furthering Education Program? I would personally say that the admissions requirements for everybody are across the board. Mm-hmm. They're not different for one type of student than another type of student. So you'll need to refer to the admissions requirements for the program that you're specifically interested in.
Correct.
Okay, there's so many questions. Let me know if you want me to stop for a while so you can continue on and we can come back to them.
We can stop here for questions and continue with the presentation because some of the questions may be answered.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Shannon. You can.
Next slide.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So just to review some documents that may be required when you're submitting your application. So immunization forms may be required. That does vary by the program. We will require official transcripts from each institution that you have previously attended. Some programs do require test scores such as GRE or the GMAT. And then as a reminder, please note that meeting the minimum admissions requirements does not guarantee admissions into the program. So make sure that you're connecting with your success coach. We are able to walk you through your unique situation to determine how to proceed.
So as your personal success coach, we're there to assist you with identifying potential career options and related majors, navigating the application and admissions process, connecting you with university support resources, and being an additional layer of support for you to help keep you on track to graduate on time. All right, so here are our application deadlines. Some deadlines may vary by the program. If you're interested in the fall 2020 semester, ensure to connect with a success coach to further discuss your program of interest and its application requirements. So if you're ready to speak to a success coach, we'd be happy to assist you. We're here again to partner with you through your educational journey. You can do so by reaching out to us at the UCF Online Connect Center at the number provided here. All right, so now we can open up for more questions.
Okay, there's lots more questions.
Okay.
Okay. I transferred 3 times in my undergrad, but I graduated. Oh, shoot, this changed. Sorry, it moved. But I graduated from UCF. Do I need to request? Sorry, it keeps moving every time somebody adds a new question. Do I need to request my other transcripts, or will they be included in my file?
So if you graduated from the University of Central Florida, we should already have those documents on file. You won't have to request them again. Just go ahead and submit that application. We'll have that on file.
When are the success coaches available on the phone numbers listed?
Oh, great question. So our success coaches are in the office Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you would like to schedule a phone appointment, you can absolutely reach out to us at this number here, and we'll be happy to get that phone appointment scheduled for you.
Somebody asked when the admissions deadline was for summer.
Admissions deadlines do vary by the program of interest. I would say refer to the catalog or give us a call so that we can talk about the program that you're specifically interested in, as it does vary.
And I'll say that the application deadline for this summer has already passed. So the next term that you can apply for will be the fall 2020 semester.
Somebody had asked if the immunization form has to be signed by the physician, or is it just the bottom half of the portion of the paper?
That's a great question. So it absolutely depends on the program. For our UCF Online students, for a majority of the program, they're not required to submit proof of their immunizations, but they are required to submit the mandatory immunization health history form. And on that form, there's a waiver statement that they can acknowledge and sign and submit back to Student Health Services. But again, it depends on the program that they're applying to. So like some of the common programs that don't require immunizations are like civil engineering, industrial engineering.
Yeah, I'll say
career and technical education, things like that.
I'll say that one that will require the signature is if you're going into nursing. That one is one that I can think of off the top of my head that will require that.
Can you explain the specific criteria that we're looking for in letters of recommendations?
Definitely. So letters of recommendations can come from previous instructors, anyone that supervised you in previous volunteer opportunities or in previous internships. It could come from a current employer. So what they're looking for is more of someone that can give an outstanding recommendation on your behalf as far as how you handle work and critique on work and you know, those type of things that will speak more of your character to determine how you would be as a student and how you would be as representative of the degree that you're seeking.
And I will also add to that that you'll want someone, like you'll want your recommender to be very familiar with you so that they can really speak to you as a person and know that you're interested in the degree program that you're applying for. They can absolutely speak to that.
This one may have sort of been answered already, but I'm a resident in Florida and I'm moving to Texas in August. Will that change my resident fees? And will it be a problem when we have to do the internship for the program?
So it will change your residency fees, and it will not pose a problem for you when you're completing your internship. For programs that do have internships, they do have internship coordinators. So if you're not in the local Central Florida area, they'll be able to partner with you to find an internship in your area.
How do I know what classes to take first? As a new part-time student to the hospitality MS program for fall, I was hoping I can get into contact with a success coach on a one-on-one phone call.
So definitely feel free to give us a call. Now, as success coaches, we don't take the place of an academic advisor. At the graduate level, however, you'll connect with the program advisor to be able to complete what's called a plan of study. And usually at that time, the student is able to map out their initial courses in their entire degree program.
Am I able to apply for the nonprofit master's program and the nonprofit MPA program at the same time?
That's a really good question. I do believe we have a dual program. That would be more for the special tuition coaches. Give us a call at that number on the screen so that we can connect you with our special tuition success coaches that can talk to you a little bit more about that.
And again, for those of you who are posting questions about social work, please refer to the chat where a link to the social work program has been included. You can get more of your questions answered there, and then you can also set up time to talk to one of our specific social work success coaches. I'm gonna skip over those questions so that we can get to more of the questions that pertain to more of our general programs. Do I need a teaching license to start the grad program for the exceptional student? That would actually be listed in the program requirements if you visit the program information in the catalog. If your undergrad GPA is under a 3.0, is it still possible to get accepted?
That's a great question. Admissions is always based on the strength of the applicant pool. The minimum requirement for admissions is a 3.0, or for graduate admissions is a 3.0 at UCF. However, again, it's dependent upon the strength of the applicant pool. If you fall below the 3.0, definitely feel free to connect with a success coach, and we can partner with you to learn a little bit more about your situation and give you some advice as far as moving forward.
As an online student, do you help place students in internships?
So we have career services that will work with you and partner you with an internships coordinator that can help you with locating internships within your area.
And then also, if your program requires an internship, they likely have an internship coordinator on hand already for their specific program, so you can absolutely connect with them to find something within your local area if you're not near UCF.
If I start a program online, can I switch to campus later?
Yes, you can always opt out of UCF Online and switch over to that campus version of your program.
And usually the approval has to go through the department.
In answer to that, can you expand a little bit more what that would mean to the student if they were a UCF Online student and did opt out into campus? Can you explain what the consequences of that are so that we make sure they're clear on that?
Yes. So our UCF Online students, they receive fee waivers for some of the campus-based fees. And this is because they're likely not going to use those fees, so they don't have to pay for them. If you were to opt out of UCF Online, you would no longer benefit from those fee waivers, and you'll no longer have access to our coaching services provided by the UCF Online Connect Center. Those are some of the changes. You'll also be required to submit proof of those immunizations. So you'll have to resubmit your mandatory immunization health history form with proof of the immunization.
And then once you are in the program on campus and take a campus course, if you wanted to switch back to online, you would be ineligible to go back into UCF Online. That won't prevent you from taking online courses. You just wouldn't be considered UCF Online and benefit from the tuition waivers anymore.
This student is talking about in reference to a certificate, application for a certificate program. Their undergraduate degree is from 1994 in Dublin, Ireland, and they're having Joseph Silney create evaluation of their foreign educational credentials. Does that take the place of getting transcripts from their overseas institution?
Yes, just make sure that it is a course-by-course evaluation with a GPA calculation. But yes, it will take place of your transcript.
Did I already ask you this question? If your undergrad GPA is under 3.0, is it still possible to get accepted? Did I already ask that one?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. How long does it take to receive a response once you've submitted your application?
Oh, that's a great question. At the graduate level, students are able to review their application status in like real time. Typically, an admissions decision is made anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, but in that time, the student is able to monitor their application status, see that maybe their official transcripts have been received, a goal statement, things like that. And the time starts, or the clock starts ticking once all documents that are requested have been received.
For the letters of recommendation, how do we submit those? Do the writers send them to the school directly? And if so, what is the email address they'll need?
So great question. When completing the application, you will be required to obtain the recommender's email address, and graduate admissions will send them an email saying, hello, student requested you to write a letter of recommendation on their behalf, and then it'll include the instructions to upload. Once your recommender submits the letter of recommendation, you'll be notified that it's been received.
And someone else asked, how many recommendation letters are needed?
It depends on the program. Usually 3 letters of recommendation are required.
Someone else asked if there'll be information sessions for individual master's programs, and I'll just go ahead and say this is actually the information session you'll get. From here, you're meant to schedule an individual appointment with a success coach, and then they'll go through specific programs with you and go over what the requirements and needs are for you with your unique circumstances related to that program. Somebody else asked, where do I get my academic advisor's contact info?
The academic advisor is assigned once you've been admitted into the university after you complete your orientation.
Are academic accommodations available at the grad level online?
Great question. So our UCF Online students, they still have access to our accessibility services department. Student Accessibility Services Department. So if they require accommodations, they can absolutely connect with one of their coordinators, and they'll be able to determine what their accommodations are and how we can provide them for them.
Can a success coach help us with our statement of goals and resume when applying for an online graduate program?
That's a great question. We can absolutely toss around some ideas based on what your strengths are, how you feel that you'll benefit from the program, what you can provide to the program. Now, we won't be able to necessarily tell you what to put in the goal statement, but we can absolutely partner with you to kind of discuss that and help you flesh it out a little bit more. And along with the resume, online there are many great resources as far as how to structure the resume. But if you want to make sure that you are like hitting every point or organizing it in a proper manner, we can absolutely provide some resources for you to do that as well.
Is there an interview involved with either online or on-campus admissions for a master's program?
That's a great question. I would say that it depends on the program. I've seen that some programs, usually at the, usually for campus-based, they may require an interview with someone from the department directly. But for our UCF Online programs, a majority of them do not require an interview with the program directly.
Is the statement, I think again referring to the admissions process, is the statement more of a purpose or a personal statement?
It would be, it does depend, but for the most part, what I've seen is personal. So they want to see how this degree will benefit you personally, professionally, and why you feel that earning this degree is important to you, how it would help you grow in your career. So it is personal, but go ahead and include how you feel it would benefit you in your growth career-wise.
Can all my recommendation letters be from professionals I work with? I have no contact with any professors anymore.
That again does vary by the program. I know some programs do want to have at least one coming from previous instructor. So refer to the catalog, it'll highlight it there.
Can I register to attend a course even if I am not accepted to a program?
Yes, you can apply as a non-degree seeking student. You wouldn't necessarily be a UCF Online student to benefit from the fee waivers that our UCF Online students receive. But yeah, you can absolutely complete one course and just take the course online. You just wouldn't be a UCF Online student. You would be classified as non-degree seeking.
How does the internship program work for international students? Do I have to find one on my own, or will UCF help me?
So that's a great question. I would absolutely say it's a case-by-case basis. Again, with each program that requires an internship, there is an internship coordinator. So if you are an international student, you can make them aware and then see what kind of accommodations they can provide.
If the application is not approved for fall semester, will we have enough time to fix the application errors to resubmit before the deadline?
The deadline for spring, I'm assuming?
I'm not sure if they meant if it's not approved for fall, can they fix whatever they needed to reapply for fall? I believe that's what they meant, but I'm not absolutely sure.
Yeah,
I believe, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they were already denied for a specific term, they would not be able to reapply for that term. They'd have to wait at least until the next one.
How do online students get the student ID card?
Oh, that's a good question. So our UCF Online students, they can connect with our card services department. If you are local to the area, you can absolutely visit the main campus, or if you're closer to one of our regional campuses, you can stop by there at their card services office. But if you're further away, you can request the UCF ID card by mail. It usually requires a student to assemble a couple of documents and mail it in, and then they will mail the UCF ID card back to them.
Is email the only way to contact BARC? I am a Chapter 35 eligible student and I need to apply through UCF.
So right now, due to the pandemic, I believe email may be the best means of communication. I'm not sure if they're able to take calls right now. Maybe we can check out their website, and maybe Joey can review that really quickly and put the link in the, put any information that he can find in the chat.
He just did.
Perfect. Thanks, Joey.
If you're accepted in one semester but decide not to attend, will the offer still stand in the following semester, or would you need to reapply to be accepted again?
You would have to reapply to be accepted again because admissions doesn't carry from one semester to the next.
And then also being admitted into one semester does not guarantee that you'll be admitted again for the following.
Can you explain a little bit more about why that is?
Because admissions is always based on the strength of the applicant pool. So technically you were considered for admissions for the term that you applied for. And that's why admissions doesn't carry to the next term, because you're in a new applicant pool.
If in the future we needed to defer a semester, how would that work?
So if you wanted to miss a semester, that's fine. As long as you're not missing 2 consecutive major semesters, you would still be active in the program. 2 major semesters would be for the fall and the spring semester. Summers are optional, so you can definitely go ahead and sit out for the summers. Do not do more than 2 consecutive major semesters. Otherwise, it may discontinue you from the program.
I would still say to connect with the success coach and even your program director, just to make sure that they're aware that you don't anticipate on taking courses for one semester, or and make sure that you have a plan in place for the semester that you plan on picking back up.
If the program I'm looking at requires having a faculty member as a research advisor, how and when would we get into contact with the faculty members?
You can connect with the faculty members, I would say by email right now due to the pandemic. I'm not sure if they are available by phone, but again, it's based on your specific situation. But yeah, I would say absolutely connect with them by email to let them know that you're planning on maybe requesting a letter of recommendation from them, provide the application deadline, and see if there's something that they'll be able to assist you with.
Instructors usually have open office hours where you're able to connect with them over the phone during those office hours. You can also connect with them through the messaging system in our web courses and through regular email. So there are a number of ways you can connect with your instructor. In the event that you're not able to receive a response, that's where you have your success coaches will be able to connect you with them and ensure that you're receiving service.
Following up on the question about switching from online to a campus, can you talk more about the deadline for that and when that has to be done?
So it's more so for, I would say at the undergraduate level that we have the application deadlines. Now at the graduate level, for a student that's interested in changing from online to campus or campus to online, it has to go through approval from the department, as we as success coaches cannot approve a graduate student to opt in or opt out of UCF Online. Like they have to receive approval from their specific department of the program.
If I'm not accepted to a program, do I get some kind of letter or notice of why I wasn't accepted?
Yes. So when a student applies to UCF, they'll have access to their, we'll say like their admissions portal, where they can keep track of their application status. When a student receives an admission decision, it'll let them know, it'll prompt them to log into that portal, and they'll be able to see what their admission status was. And it'll also provide a brief explanation of why they may have not been admitted.
What kinds of things would we need to do in person as an online student? Will we have to get books on site or visit the on-site offices ever? Especially regarding the list of items at the beginning of the presentation about the benefits that online students can share.
There will never be a requirement for students to come to campus for any reason. That being said, you're not restricted from coming to campus. So you can still come to campus to receive all the services that were mentioned, but those services are available for you 100% online. All students are able to access the library services, Student Academic Resource Center, which offers tutoring, the Writing Center, all of that is available 100% online.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be possible to attend classes on campus during this time or have face-to-face meetings with faculty?
So you can absolutely have face-to-face meetings with faculty, but in terms of your coursework, it's fully online. So you'll as a UCF Online student, due to the fee waivers that you receive, there are service restrictions in place that include the inability to register for any face-to-face courses. So UCF Online students are only permitted to enroll in fully online courses. But you can absolutely visit your instructor. If you're on campus, you can absolutely visit your instructor.
Yeah, I would just add, Shannon, that as a reminder, because of the pandemic, just ensure that you're connecting beforehand in case we have a requirement to set up appointments beforehand, and to ensure that they're even offering the service right now, because things look a little bit different because of the pandemic and the campus being closed. So it is an option. Just make sure that you're connecting beforehand, set an appointment, and let them know that that's what you plan to do.
Thanks, Johanny.
There were some, I'm sorry, there's so many questions. I'm trying to keep them organized for you. There have been several questions about the GRE and if there's ever a possibility of waiving it, such as if they've been out of school for more than 10 years and such and such. Could you answer that?
Sure. So again, it varies by the program. To determine if the GRE is a requirement, definitely refer to the graduate catalog for your program. If it's not a requirement, then you don't have to submit it. But if it is a requirement, then you have to complete the GRE. Again, I will say that due to the pandemic, if you're worried about being able to take it before the application deadline, they are offering the GRE to be completed fully online, I believe, until the end of this month.
And most programs that require the GRE require it to be taken within the last 5 years.
5 years. Mm-hmm.
So would someone with a GRE score have an acceptance advantage over someone who does not? And if so, how much of an advantage would that be?
The advantage would come depending on the scores. If it is an admissions requirement, they will require every student to submit it. If it's not, submitting GRE scores does not really impact too much the decision on it, because it's not something that will be required. You can submit it to strengthen the application, but as far as how much will it advance your chances, that really, I'm not sure what that would look like.
I've already uploaded my transcript into the system, but my GPA doesn't meet the minimum requirement for the program. Do you recommend that I still apply to the program?
I would recommend connecting with a success coach so that we can discuss your unique situation and then provide you with some helpful steps to move forward.
Does the federal government have any new financial aid programs available for master's or grad certificate programs due to COVID-19, perhaps via the CARES Act?
So that's a great question. Due to the our UCF Online students, they're not eligible for the CARES Act. And so it's because their courses are fully online. Usually the CARES Act was for students that were enrolled in campus-based courses who were impacted by COVID-19, who may have, been on campus and had to make immediate arrangements. But for UCF Online students, if their courses are fully online, they don't benefit from the CARES Act. And I'm not familiar with any other scholarships or grants that are available to our UCF Online students.
I have supervised UCF student teachers during their internships, and I remember there being something about using that experience toward a master's degree with UCF. Would that apply for the online graduate programs?
I'm assuming this is in terms of your resume. If you have that valuable experience, definitely include it. I wouldn't say to exclude it. Absolutely, any valuable experience that you have that you feel would be something good to include with their application, definitely ensure to include it.
If your online course was also offered in person, would a student be able to possibly audit the in-person class at the same time?
That's an interesting question. I've not heard of that one being asked before. I think it would depend on the department. So some departments are more flexible. I would say it doesn't hurt to reach out and verify if that's an option. So I wouldn't say no 100%. I'd say just connect with the department.
Are there any mini-mesters at the grad level?
That's a good question. The semesters are typically 16 weeks in length for the fall and spring. Now, for the summer, it's a little bit different since at UCF we have sessions. So some courses may be 6 weeks in length, some may be 8 weeks or 12 weeks. But those are the summer semester is the only semester where we have like mini semesters.
I live close to the Daytona State College's UCF branch. Will services still be offered for me there?
Definitely, yeah. You can always go and receive those services.
This one's in reference to the doctoral nursing program, executive program. It mentions 2-day intensives. Are those on campus?
Yes.
Is there a benefit to submitting documentation that is not required, such as letters of recommendation, if they're not asked for?
If they're not requested, I don't believe that they'll be considered. Again, they're only looking for the documents that they request. So if you're trying to submit some additional documents to strengthen your application, it's not likely that they'll be considered.
Somebody posted in here, it's not a question, but it's actually a good point to consider as you're applying. This person mentioned that they've observed regarding COVID and being able to reach professors for recommendation letters. Their undergrad university is on limited services, so reaching a former professor could be a challenge to get a letter by July 1st. I just wanted to bring that up because it is a good observation that this is something to be considered for those who are still applying now for fall, that there could be a delay in getting the information you need for your application. So there is a sense of urgency in working on this, and something to consider as the time frame might be getting cut close.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Johnny.
Someone else asked, can coursework be completed at any time of day, or do some programs require online seminars? Thanks.
That's a good question. So the courses are largely asynchronous, meaning that you're not required to log in, say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 12. You can absolutely complete the program or the course at your own pace, provided that you submit the maybe discussion board postings or writing assignments, what have you, by the posted deadline that's set forth by the instructor.
We only have a couple of questions left, so we should do a last call for anyone to post questions that they want answered. But I might have already asked this one. I'm sorry if I did. If I'm not accepted to a program, do I get some kind of letter or notice about why I wasn't accepted? Did I already ask that one? Okay, I thought so. Some of them I can't remember. Did I ask or did I just read it? You got some really good feedback, I'll tell you right now. This person said, I must say I'm an associate director of recruitment at one of your sister schools, and you have all done a great job. Great presentation, well articulated, and extremely professional. You all rock.
Thank you.
That was very nice, and I just had to share. We do have one more comment, I guess I would like to have addressed if we have a little bit of time. This person feels like our admissions process is so difficult. Do you feel like you could speak a little bit to why our admissions process is the way it is for grad programs?
When they say difficult, are they referring to like the admissions criteria? Like they feel like there's a lot of things that they need to check off, or is it difficult, like hard to understand what it is that is required of them?
I'm not exactly sure. Could you speak to both because they didn't specify?
I would say if you're feeling like it's difficult to navigate or understand what is required, that's why we're here. Success coaches are your main point of contact from the moment that you come in all the way up until you graduate. So we want to make it as easy and smooth as possible for you. Please connect with us. We'll be happy to guide you, answer your questions, walk you through every step of the way. We'll be happy to even help you with ideas on who to connect with for those letters of recommendations.
Mhm.
We have career services that will look at your resume if you want to strengthen that. So definitely reach out to us. Shannon, did you want to go ahead and add something?
Yeah, I was going to say the same as well. Again, I mentioned it earlier. If at any point in the application process you're experiencing any difficulty, not certain about how to proceed, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help.
One last question, please, because this is a important one. I think it would help a lot of people. What about deployment? Can the program be paused and resumed, or would they have to completely withdraw?
So yes, they can absolutely, any student that's in the military who needs to take a pause for a deployment, they can absolutely work with the program to put it on hold so that they don't have to reapply when they return. That's a great question.
That's all the questions we have.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you gained some valuable information about UCF Online and our application process, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
So much for joining. Take care, guys.
Doing some last minute responses.
Okay.
I was trying to type answers to some people as well at the same time.
Okay.
I think we're good now. I think we're good. I think we're good. All right.
All right.
105 questions answered.
Awesome. I'll stop sharing now.